Hey everybody, it's Patrick
And Sarah.
from the board Meeples, and today we're going to do a how to play Star Realms. As always, don't forget to subscribe and click on that notification bell for more board game contents. Thanks.
Star Realms is a science fiction deck building game for 1 to 4 players, designed by Rob Doutry and Darwin Castle and published by Wise Wizard Games. The object of the game is to use your space fleet to reduce your opponent's authority to 0. Start by setting up the play area. Each player gets their scorecards starting at 50 authority and a starting deck consisting of 2 Vipers and 8 Scouts each. Leave the 2 oversized challenge cards and the 13 silver-bordered Gambit cards in the box, as these are used in a different variation. Set out the game board in between the players and place the 16 explorers on the indicated space on the board. Shuffle the trade deck cards and deal out the top 5 onto the game board. The remaining cards will form a draw pile and be placed on the indicated space on the board. Now determine a first player, and that person draws 3 cards from their starting deck. The second player will draw 5 cards from their starting deck. When we play, we cut the trade deck, and the player who reveals the highest cost card goes first. The game is now ready to begin. Star Realms is played over a series of turns, consisting of 3 phases. The phases are main phase, discard phase, and draw phase. During the main phase, you will play all the cards in your hand, and perform a number of different actions in any order you like, such as use card abilities, acquire new cards using trade, and attack opponents' authority or bases using combat. Cards in your hand are free to play. There are 2 types of cards in Star Realms, ships and bases. When playing a card, the primary card ability written on it takes effect immediately. If a card ability grants combat or trade, the resource will go into a resource pool, which will be used at any time during the main phase. Unused resources in the resource pool are lost during the discard phase. Bases remain in play until they're destroyed, allowing you to use their abilities again in following turns. In order to destroy a base, the opponent will need to deal enough combat damage in a single turn equal to that base's defense value. Some bases are called outposts. They force the opponent to deal damage to that base first before they can directly attack your authority. The cards may have other ally abilities, which show one of 4 faction symbols beside the ability. The factions of the cards are shown on the top left of the card. The factions are Machine Cult, Star Empire, Trade Federation, and Blob. As soon as 2 cards of the same faction are in play, all ally abilities of that faction trigger that turn and can be used once at any time during the main phase. Some abilities are called scrap abilities, showing this symbol on the card. You may choose to perform scrap abilities during your main phase by placing the card into the scrap heap on the board. This will remove the card from your personal deck and allow you to take the action that's written next to the scrap ability. You're not required to use ally or scrap abilities if you don't want to. There are a number of card abilities that also allow you to gain authority. Simply gain the authority equal to the number listed on the card. In addition to abilities, you can use your trade resources to gain new cards from the trade row. The cost you must spend from your trade resource pool is indicated on the top right of the card. Once you buy a card, it will go on top of your discard pile to be used in later turns, then replenish the empty space in the trade row immediately. Lastly, you may deal combat damage from your combat pool to a player or their in-play bases if you choose. Remember that outposts must be attacked first before dealing combat damage to other bases or a player's authority. Once you've completed all available actions, you will move to your discard phase. Discard any remaining unplayed cards from your hand and all ship cards in play into your personal discard pile. Then empty remaining unused combat and trade resources from your pool. Now move on to your draw phase, where you will draw 5 new cards from your personal deck and end your turn. If at any time you would run out of cards in your personal deck, shuffle your personal discard pile to form a new draw deck. Play will now continue alternating turns until someone reaches 0 authority. At that moment, the game ends and the last player standing wins. There are a number of different variations to the game, which are outlined in more detail in the last half of the rulebook. There's also a quick reference for all the different icons in the game on page 6. So that's it. Let us know what you think or if we missed anything by commenting down below, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any of our content. See you next time!